All right, Scorpio, this is a big week for you because this full moon is happening in your sign on May 1st. Okay, and this is not just background energy for you. This is very personal. And I must say, you might hear my doggy grumble a bit, whine a bit, because it is thunderstorming right now. Okay, with that said, this full moon is lighting up your identity, your emotions, your body, your needs, your sense of self, and honestly, what you're ready to shed. Scorpio is already a sign that understands the transformation, but this week may bring something up that says, okay, you've outgrown this version of yourself. Are you ready to stop carrying this with you? Are you ready to get rid of this baggage? Ooh. Yeah. Yeah, I raised an eyebrow at that card. We'll get to the cards in a minute. But anyhow, the sun is in Taurus, and that's pulling attention into your relationship house. So there may be this little push-pull between you and another person, what you need and what they need. There could be conversations. There could be even confrontations. Let's keep this real here. This is real life. This is not fluffy unicorns and rainbows. Okay? But you also have to come to a midpoint. And because there has to be some balance. And where there isn't, and whether a connection still matches who you are becoming, you have to analyze that and talk it out. Is this really where I belong? This could bring relationship clarity, but it could also bring personal clarity. Sometimes it's not just about who stays and who goes. Sometimes it's about realizing I'm not the same person I was when the situation began. Because that's part of evolution as a soul. We change. We evolve. Okay? That's growth. Without change, we don't grow. Okay? And as we change, we do become different people, not necessarily different people, but different versions of ourselves. And you're showing up right here, your power card. That transformation. This reading is going to be really spot on for you. It's kind of funny. Comment below, Scorpio, if you're dealing with a Taurus. Because your energy's here. Taurus energy's here. I'm really, really curious, okay? That's not for everybody. Or maybe you have some Taurus in your chart, which that would be really interesting too. But anyhow, we are going to be looking at what truth is being revealed right now for you. And with your relationships and the version of you, and what are you ready to release under this full moon? So we're going to go ahead and dig in. So your oracle card, honey. Veils of deception obscure the view. The first thing that came to my mind was rose-colored glasses. You know, sometimes we want to think the best of everything, that we go into situations and so focused on a particular situation. I want this. This is mine. I know this is mine. I feel this is mine. But we deceive ourselves in the process. Because another phrase that's coming to my mind is blinded by love. But the veil of deception obscures the view. So now we're going to go ahead and get into the rest of the spread. So Scorpio, this reading is really big for you. It makes perfect sense why this oracle card came out. When you think about this full moon, what is going to come up to the surface? What is going to be revealed? Honey, that veil is going to be removed. And what is really standing out here is not just one veil, it's layered. There's multiple veils in this. Okay? It feels like something has been covered over more than once. Maybe by somebody else, maybe by circumstances, or maybe by your own hope, your own attachment, your own desire for something or to be what you wanted it to be. It's like the Scorpio I'm talking to feels like you ran into something and it's now turning into being a lesson for you. Okay? Now, this is where the self-honesty comes in. Because sometimes deception is someone lying to us, but sometimes it's us saying, no, I can make this work. No, this is what I need. Even if it's not healthy for me, I will make it work. I'm seeing this clearly. When deep down, there were signs. And they were just covered by veils. Okay? That face, that rose-colored glasses that came into my mind really fits perfect here. Because it's not always that you don't or didn't see the truth. Sometimes you saw pieces of it, but you wanted the dream more than you wanted the disruption. And then we start here with the Seven of Cups. This is your card. This is your energy right now. And this could not be more perfect to go along with the energy of this reading. Because the Seven of Cups, it represents illusions, options, fantasy, confusion, wishful thinking. It could be emotional fog and not knowing what is real because too many things are floating around in front of you. And I say this with a loving heart, Scorpio. Sometimes we choose to walk in the fog because it seems easier than facing reality. Okay? So, right now, you may be looking at a situation and realizing there are too many possibilities or too many stories, too many what-ifs, too many emotional attachments, and there's no clarity on it. This can be that moment where you say, hold on, wait a minute here. I was seeing what was actually there, or was I seeing what I wanted to see, what I wanted this to become? Then we have this Five of Wands. And this is telling me about the conflict around this. This could be external conflict with other people, but it can also be an inner conflict. Part of you may know one thing, another part of you wants something else. Part of you may be ready to confront the truth, while the other part still wants to keep one of those veils in place. Because taking it off means you have to deal with what's underneath it. And Scorpio, you are a very deep-feeling, deeply emotional sign. Very intuitive. And you don't usually do things halfway. So when you want something, when you're attached to something, you become really invested in that. And it's not easy to just shrug and walk away, okay? And be like, oh, well, moving on. No, you feel it. You transform through it. You're a fixed sign, and you don't give up easily, especially when you have something like a job, career, a car, a house, whatever, or someone in your sights. Scorpio, you're very intense, and you want to almost intense to a fault, because you become very fixated on a particular goal. That can work for you. It can also work against you. That fixation is like a double-edged sword. And always remember that. Now, the Emperor here, it says, okay, what are the facts? Okay. And this is what is going to be, what the moon is going to be revealing to you, what this full moon, okay? What are the facts? The Emperor says, and the Emperor says, it analyzes this, what's stable, what's proven, what has actually been shown to me. It's not what you had hoped. It's not what someone promised. It's not this fantasy world that you may have created in your mind. It's the facts. He's about the facts, facts, facts. And the Emperor can represent someone who is very strong and dominant, very controlling, or very fixed in their ways. So for some Scorpios, you may be dealing with someone who likes to control the narrative. Large and in charge. Captain of the ship. Okay? Someone who wants to kind of like present themselves as solid, powerful, reliable. But you have to ask if their actions match the image that they are kind of presenting to you. Because there's a fine line with controlling the narrative, running the household, being head of household. And it doesn't matter, male or female. Okay? There's a fine line between that and downright dominance to even narcissistic. I just got to lay it out here, Scorpio. And so you're dealing with somebody who lays down the law for that household or for that work situation, for that company. Whatever your situation you find yourself in. Whether you thought this was the dream romance or the dream job. Okay? There's somebody there who's very demanding, very dominant. And if you've ignored that before and been in self-denial, this full moon is going to open up your eyes. That veil is going to be lifted off of this person. And actually also reveal to you the need for you to step into your own leadership role. Okay? So, then we move on to the Fool. The Fool feels like a turning point here. The Fool is taking a leap of faith in a new direction for having a fresh start in life. But with this spread, I would be careful how I read this, because the Fool can also say, don't walk off the cliff just because something looks exciting. Okay? But again, I feel like there is a turning point coming, an opportunity for independence here. Nine of Pentacles. Nine of Pentacles is, and I love this here for you, by the way. This is independence. This is self-worth. This is stability. This is knowing your value. And it's echoed here with the Empress, by the way. Okay? And this is being okay on your own. The card says you don't need to cling to illusion just because you're afraid of being without something or someone. If it's the job situation, perhaps you're being pulled Maybe to start your own business. Take your knowledge, be your own boss. And we have, okay, Spirit just pointed this out, the power couple. But in business, you stepping into that leadership role, you being the boss, or maybe there's a promotion and you go for that promotion, you step into that boss. There's a turning point, a new beginning coming here, but you have to take that leap of faith. If it's a job promotion in the workplace and you think, well, I'm not qualified enough for that, take that leap of faith and apply anyhow. In your personal life, there's a leap of faith here that you may have been afraid to take because maybe I don't get good vibes from this Emperor. I just got to be honest. Because I feel like this is somebody in your life. And sometimes you have to take the leap of faith and confront that person. Have a sit down and say, hey, we need to talk about this. And if they are not willing to bend, compromise, meet you halfway, to meet their needs and meet your needs, to work together, sometimes we need to take that leap of faith and go in another direction. But as you turn that corner, we had that, like I said, that Nine of Pentacles. There is something, a turning point that is leading to independence. And you have to be okay with being alone. I just got to say it. Because this Nine of Pentacles is, I know it depicts, I'm going to say a woman because it's what's on the card, male or female. But this is, we have a woman here who is looking at her crops. And she's saying, I built this. I did this. I am self-sufficient. I don't need that emperor. I don't need that emperor dictating my every move. I can stand on my own 2 feet. And I see you, once you take that leap of faith, you enjoying the fruits of your labor. And it's very transformative. Here we are, your power card, the death card. And this is not a soft little suggestion from Spirit. This is transformation. This is shedding. The old skin coming off. And part of this reading is where it's something that cannot stay the same once the veil is lifted. It's like the veil is lifted. This is what is revealed, okay? The veil is lifted, and you cannot unsee this. It's like, I see it now, and I can't go back. I can't unsee this now. And there has to come a place where you know your worth. I am the Empress. I have value. I birthed this. Some of you actually, like I said, you ran into this. You thought this was what you wanted. You may have had rose-colored glasses going into this job or going into this relationship. But your eyes are opened. And it's a time where you need to shift directions and honoring yourself and your own value. And death is not showing up here to try to punish you. It is trying to show up here to liberate you from something that is already expired. So if there's a situation that you've been holding on to or a fantasy that you've been holding on to, an old attachment, an old version of someone, or even an old version of yourself that believed you needed this so badly, death says that version is ready to be released. And then the advice here with this Page of Wands, this is the advice card or outcome card. This feels like a spark of new energy coming in. The Page of Wands represents that curiosity and inspiration. It could be a message that launches you in a fresh direction. That is the moment where the fog starts to clear and you start to feel a little fire again. Your ruling planet is Pluto, but you also have a co-ruler. Traditional ruler was Mars. Okay, Mars is fire. So Scorpio, you have a touch of fire in you. Okay, and you start to feel that again. But this page, it's early energy. It's not the whole plan yet. It's not the finished or the final destination. This is the spark. And that may be exactly what you need. Not to know every answer right now, but to know that there is life after the illusion breaks. And underneath the deck, we touched on her briefly here, the Empress, which is really beautiful energy, because it brings us right back to that Taurus energy. And whether you have Taurus in your chart, but we are in Taurus season. And when it comes to timing, Major Arcana card says it's imminent. It could be on your doorstep, okay? And we're in that Taurus season. And we're in that full moon that's happening in just 2 days from the date that I'm doing this reading. Okay? And so this Empress is about value and worth and abundance, creation, beauty, receiving, nurturing, and knowing what you truly deserve. And Scorpio, this is the bigger message underneath all this other static of this whole reading. Once that veil comes off, you get to choose what you actually want to grow in your life. What do you want to cultivate? And the Nine of Pentacles is the baby sister of the Empress. Okay? The Empress is all the queens combined into one. This is the baby sister. Okay? And the next closest thing to the Empress is next to the Nine of Pentacles is the Queen of Pentacles. But we have two very cultivating cards here. She's enjoying the fruits of her labor. Empress does the same thing. She works hard to birth things, right? And this is enjoying abundance. And you are not this is not about what you are forcing, not what you have been fantasizing about, not what looked good through the veil, but this is actually healthy growth, okay? And with this Nine of Pentacles and the Empress together, this is a very strong message about self-worth. You are not meant to settle for confusion, competition, mixed signals, or someone else controlling the story. You are meant to stand in your value and ask, does this honor who I'm becoming? Because a full moon in your sign, making this personal, this is not just about relationship. This is not just about another person. It's about you seeing yourself clearly also. You know, where have you been giving your power to illusion? These are some questions you need to ask. And where have you been fighting for something that should have felt easier? Where have you been trying to turn confusion into commitment? Where have you been ignoring your own transformation because you were afraid of what you'd have to release? The big message here is the veil is lifting. And once it lifts, you can't go back. And you get your power back. And yes, that may mean something changes. It may mean fantasy breaks. It may mean you have to admit something isn't what you wanted it to be. But Scorpio, you are built for transformation. You don't just survive endings. You become stronger through them. It's part of Scorpio's DNA. So this week, be honest with yourself. Look past that first veil, and then the second, then the third, or however many veils there are there. Don't stop at the version that makes you comfortable. Look at the version that makes you free. Because once you see the truth, the next chapter begins, and it begins with you remembering your value. So I hope you found this helpful and useful. Comment as you see fit below. Please remember to hit that thumbs up button, and if you're new, to subscribe. I am rebuilding this channel again. I love you all, and I'll see you in the next one.